thank all of my committee people that got out of work and came over. That seems like part of the committee table over there. And I appreciate that. We've got Rick Martell over here. He's our council person for the town. Tom Maloney over here is one of our sponsors this evening from Shinnecock Hardware. We appreciate that, Tom. I always have to look around because I always miss the town of Southampton, Tom DeMeo. And my wife, who puts up with my stuff every single day. So I'm going to try and be brief because you really want to hear from the candidates. I think we're at a point in history where things are going to change. And I don't wish anybody any ill will, but I can't remember a time when so far. And he is just pounding along, meeting people, and in speaking to Peter, it's clear that some of the leaning towards the Republican side, because we've had for 28 years a very pleasant person who votes Democrat no matter what the situation is. So we're very enthused for Peter, and we expect him to win in November. He's not facing a primary, but he's out there pounding it every single day. We really appreciate everybody coming out tonight. And what I'm going to do is call up Nick, and he's going to introduce himself.
Chairman likes when I do this, so I'm going to give you a couple of numbers, 22, 19, and 18. But before I get to those numbers, I want to say a big thanks to our chairman, who's part of a great coalition of 10 Republican town chairmen in our town, who through you, many of you are hardworking committee members, have been kicking butt for the last year or so. We've won a lot of stuff, Billy, man. Yeah, that's one of you guys, man. We've been winning a lot of stuff recently, and it's because of the hard work. It's not just a natural red wave that happens in nature. It's because of the hard work that we've been doing here through our chairman, through our committeemen, and through folks who have been giving money to hardworking candidates and committees to ensure that we get our message of being solid conservative Republicans out there. We're for more individual accountability and personal freedom. We're for smaller government. We're for lesser taxes. We're for protecting our own constitutional freedoms. That's why we've been winning. But it's not just that happens naturally. It's been because of the hard work that our chairman, our committees, and you guys, the donors, have been putting in. My name is Nick LaLota. Thanks for the introduction, Mr. Chairman. I'm the brother of a Marine, the son of a cop, and I went to the Naval Academy after I graduated from St. Anthony's, and I served our great country on 3 overseas deployments. 22 days, I have a Republican primary. I'm asking you to help defend our line and what we stand for collectively. These are not things that can be bought, and our adversary in this specific election trying to buy votes and trying to distort truths and trying to create our will and our resolve to ensure that we understand the issues that matter most, and we want to be represented by the candidates who represent our values most. I humbly, a few of you have contributed financially to my campaign. I appreciate that, and I'm thankful for that confidence. The next number is 20. If you all get together 20 votes, we win this thing hands down. There's 500 election districts in this congressional district. We all each get 20 votes in each district. That's 10,000 votes. That does it. That's an easy win in a nice 3-way race in this. I'm proud to be your candidate. 18 years ago, my brother earned a Bronze Star in Iraq. I'm gonna get a little choked up over here because I love my brother and what he's done for this great country. I was telling a couple of guys before, I generally sat behind a desk for most of my time in the Navy with some fine people. But my brother's the real hero. I think it's incumbent upon all of us who can serve, who can give back, to do so. You all are the personification of just that. You all have given back in many different levels. My family has tried to do so several different times in uniform to give back and to be of service to our great country. Commander Hughes is behind me. I know he's got a proud record of service to our country, as well as some of you have served in law enforcement and elsewhere. That can move forward. We as a country can defend the things that we hold so near and dear to us. I am thankful for your confidence. I am asking you humbly, make those phone calls, make those contacts, plant those lawn signs, do the things to ensure that somebody who represents you well can represent us in Congress as well. Big shout out to Peter Ganley. I'm gonna pivot here real quick. I got to know Peter maybe 5 or so years ago, maybe 4 it was, when we worked together at the elections board. I see Heather, I see BJ, I see Billy Mann, folks with whom I've worked at the elections board. We made it harder to cheat and easier to vote. Peter was a big part of that team, and that's where I first met Peter Ganley. Selfless guy who's been out there ensuring that he's defended me in public. While we've had these trolls out there online, we've seen them all the time. You know, Peter's fighting back all the time against some of that stuff, and I'm personally appreciative for his selflessness. But it goes beyond just me. Peter's a guy who has leaned into this process a lot, who has knocked on thousands of doors, who have taken the time away from his family, his social life, and everything else to ensure that the New York State Assembly can be represented by somebody who has the right values that comport with our values here. He's the right guy for this job. He's putting the work in, and we're here to honor him, to support him, and he's working really hard for it. You know, some folks get the easy path. They get nominated for these nice, cozy, deep red districts. Not Peter. Peter's got a tough road ahead, but he knows it, and he's been at this for months. He's not just starting like post-Labor Day, taking the temperature to see if, it's going to be a super red tsunami, then maybe guys, nah. He knows from day one this was going to be an uphill battle, and he's up for it. He's been knocking on those doors, making those connections, taking things for granted. The state's going in the wrong direction. The opponent's been a part of it. Peter's a part of this new brand, this new breed that's going to level the playing field to ensure that one-party rule, whether it's in Albany or Washington, is no longer a thing. Mr. Doyle, how are you, sir? He's going to ensure that things are more balanced in our state government. There are some crazy things going on right now. And the old story was, the state budget was always a mess. We got issues way bigger than that. And people have been leaving New York for a good number of years. State Assemblyman Peter Ganley.
Thank you guys for coming. Thank you, Chairman Betts, for sponsoring this event. Thank you, Nick Lalotta, for sponsoring this event. Nick Lalotta is the first person to cut my campaign a check, the very first person. The first person to call me and said he had my back in this race. I really appreciate it, and it's incredibly important that we nominate Nick Lalotta as our Republican nominee for Congress, because he's the only one that can win in November, and we need his voice to succeed Lee Zeldin in Congress. So there's probably never been a worse time to be a New Yorker. You have healthy states don't hemorrhage 1% of their population every year. Healthy states don't have the highest taxes in America, and healthy states don't have a rising crime rate and rampant corruption. We saw just recently, and what a coincidence, got a $5 billion government contract from the state of New York. Now you'd be forgiven if you thought, oh, I read that story 2 weeks ago. It happened 2 weeks ago as well. This is just new to that. You're going to keep seeing, because these are recurring things. It sounds like the same story, but it's the same playbook as Cuomo. It is the same every week after week, another corruption scandal. And it's clear that something needs to change in Albany. Everything from our young people, people my age, to people who are retirement age, are leaving the state in droves. They're going to different states because their money can go further, and they're leaving New York behind. I'm running against an opponent who has been in office longer than I've been alive. He's deeply embedded in this system and in this failed government. Over the years, has been a part of every bad policy that has brought us from bad to worse. He used to have a strong independent streak, long time ago. He had an I next to his name, as independent. Right now, he votes for the Democratic Majority Leader of the Assembly on 97% of issues. That's not a number I just made up. If you count all his votes, it's 97. And that's not a partisan thing. That's not about a Democrat or Republican thing. A lot of our problems in New York are more regional than they are partisan. Leadership in the Assembly and leadership in New York State's government is right out of New York City. It's not Long Island members, it's New York City members. So you're voting with New York City's leadership on 97% of issues. I don't believe that New York City membership has what's in the best interests of the East End of Long Island on 97% of issues. I don't think they have what's in the best interests of the East End on 25% of issues. So regardless if that's a Republican or Democratic leadership, you shouldn't be voting with your leadership if that's from New York City on 97% of issues. I think Nick said he believes I can win. My chairman believes I can win. I believe I can win. It's going to take a lot. Let's be honest, it's a pretty blue district. It's the Hamptons. It's South Old Town. We have an incredible governor candidate at the top of the ticket, Lee Zeldin. He's going to drive out the vote. I am as was mentioned before, I'm knocking thousands and thousands of doors, hoping as many votes as I can. And I want to thank all of you for your support. You guys have been incredibly generous. You've been incredibly supportive. Everyone from friends, family, supporters, I very much appreciate it. And I'm going to do everything I can to win this, and I appreciate it.